Let's get salty!
Everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and we are expecting, quite likely this week, a balance patch coming to Hearthstone. Basically, 2 weeks after pretty much every mini set, pretty much always, we get a balance patch, typically to prepare for the announcement of the next expansion, which is probably in a couple more weeks, which we'll start hyping along pretty soon. But today, I wanted to give my predictions on what nerfs and possible buffs we could see in that patch that could be announced as early as today. You never know, so stay tuned to the channel. And while you do that, you might as well go over to our giveaway video where we're giving away $400 worth of Hearthstone packs out of my pocket to celebrate 69,420 subs. All you have to do to enter that giveaway, like and comment in the video description below, and be subscribed to the channel. We're going to be announcing the giveaway winner winners on Thursday, so hit that sub button, make me go broke. And as you can see on the HS replay, across all ranks, we have Paladin and Hunter absolutely dominating, with Druid and Rogue in dead last. I wonder why the meta feels pretty good these days. It's almost like Druid and Rogue being last doesn't feel that bad after they've dominated for so long. Taking a look at the meta, basically Diamond through Legend, you can see what is doing really well now. Pure Paladin, the obvious outlier. I don't even think we should get a major balance patch. I'd like to see some light touches, because if you look below that, you've got Hunter, you got Warrior, you got Demon Hunter, and well, you got a myriad of Deathlight. If you go higher ranks, start looking at Legend, then it becomes a little bit more narrow, where it's, you know, it doesn't look quite as good with Paladin, Warrior, and Hunter basically being like the only playable decks outside of Unholy Deathlight. In a top 1000 Legend, the common denominator is Pure Paladin doing really well, and then all of a sudden you have Outcast Demon Hunter, Spell Demon Hunter. So primarily, if we're looking at like dialing down a few decks, you're probably looking at Pure Paladin, you're probably looking maybe at Warrior, although we'll talk about that. Nerfing Warrior after being bad for so long might be a little bit controversial, but definitely Demon Hunter and quite possibly Warrior. And looking at Pure Paladin, the obvious candidate, what do you nerf? All you gotta do is look at the Purator. The Purator is by far the most broken card in Pure Paladin. This 5-drop, 5-mana 4/6 taunt that draws like a ridiculous amount of cards has a 66.4% mulligan win rate. You have this in your opener, a 5-drop, in a deck that wants to curve out well, wins 2/3 of the time, just by having that in your opening hand. And draw and win rate, played win rate, basically identical. Absolutely ridiculous card. You can look at Sinful Suchet, but it's a 1-drop. You know, a 1-drop's supposed to have a good win rate, but Disco Maul's another card that's way up there you could consider. And then of course, you have the whole Horn of the Windlord combo, which if you take a look, at least mulligan win rate's not great, but played win rate, all of a sudden you got 4 Count the Lost, Feast and Famine, Horn of the Windlord, all doing really well. And Big Beast Hunter is one that popped up a lot there. You see Pozic, the best card, honestly the best card in a lot of decks, as the top mulligan win rate. The spirit cards, the wild seed cards, like, are they really gonna nerf those again? I kind of doubt it, but those are the only things that stick out. But anyways, let's go to predictions. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea of what the outliers are kind of looking like. So again, for Paladin, if there's one card I would expect to get nerfed, it's the Purator. It is just so ridiculous at 5 mana. I think it goes to 6, and it's still a really good card. I mean, the old Curator, the card it was based on, which only drew 3 cards, was 7 mana, right? So you still have it being power crept on that. It draws way more cards. And again, Pure Paladin needs to be dialed back somehow. So I think going after its best card is the way to go. Disco Maul is always brought up as a card to be nerfed, and if you are going to nerf it, you're probably making it a 3-mana 3/2. But honestly, I'm passing on it. I don't think it needs to get nerfed. I think it's good early game, but overall, it's more of a feels bad card than it is an absolute power outlier. So I'm skipping on that nerf. However, I think Horn of the Windlord at 6 probably needs to get dialed back to 7. The whole combo with like Feast and Famine is just too absurd. I'd expect Horn of the Windlord to go 7. If it was me, I would actually make it 5 mana, but not be able to go face. Kind of like old Fool's Bane. That's what I would like to see, but I think there's just too much text on the card as it is. So 7 mana, or maybe 4 Khalas goes to 3, or Feast and Famine goes to 2. That way Shaman is spared the nerf. I think those are all possible, but I do think this weapon combo of just ridiculous burst has to be dialed down in Paladin. It's supposed to be one of their weaknesses. For Hunter, Hollow Hound has been really good, and no, I don't think it's going to get nerfed. I just think this card's really cool, and I wanted to scare you just for a little second. deck in there. Honestly, I don't think any hunter specific card will get nerfed. Pazik has been popping up in like every deck, like Unholy Death Fight into even like Relic Demon Hunter. So many decks just run this card because it wins on 4, right? And I actually think Pazik is the card to help dial back a little bit of the aggression. And I wonder if they make the audio bots 2/2s instead of 3/3s. That's a possibility. You can make Pazik a 4/4. You could make this 5 mana, but then you're just killing the card. I could see Pazik getting a slight nudge, and that also helps dial back a lot of other decks that, as you saw on that whole chart, Unholy Death Knight, Relic Demon Hunter, all these decks pretty much abuse it, and I could very well see play, and plus, it's uncraftable. It's a free card. They wouldn't have to give a dust refund. It's perfect. So do I think they will actually nerf Warrior? Warrior is like the second best deck in the game. It can be quite smothering, and if I was to suggest a nerf, one nerf, it would be to Imbued Axe. Remember, this got buffed, and the one thing that bugs me about this card is you don't need to infuse it basically ever. It used to be +1/+1, infuse, +2/+2, but then they made it so that you always get the +2 health, and for me, this card's really frustrating that, you know, you don't really care about that extra +1 attack. It's really not that relevant. I could see them reverting this buff, but at the same time, Warrior has been so bad for so long that now that it's finally like good and maybe a little too good at certain ranks, I feel like it would look pretty bad if they nerfed it. So on a normal patch, if Warrior had been good for a while, it probably loses its buff. But I think there's a good shot that Warrior's not going to get directly nerfed at all because, again, I think it might look a little bit bad. Now in Demon Hunter, I absolutely do expect the class to get dialed down. Spell DH is ridiculous. Relic DH, Outcast Demon Hunter, and this card has just been, it's been surviving too long. At 1 mana, especially with Silver Moon Arcanist, is just ridiculous. It's like Reno Jackson for 4 or 5 mana that also clears the board, that also pushes like 3 or 6 face damage. It's just a ridiculously broken, yes, broken card that I cannot believe has only been nerfed once, where its mana thirst went from 4 to 6. I would love, absolutely would love to see this card no longer go face, but they always seem allergic to that change when it comes to Demon Hunter. We saw that with Altruist back in the day. If it goes face, it's always going to go face in Demon Hunter. I don't know why, but I do expect, like, this card has to go to at least 2, right? 2 mana or mana thirst 8, something like that. Something's got to change with this card. It is just unbelievably ridiculous when you compare it to any other spell that deals 1 damage to all minions. It is just crazy, and I expect this card to finally get hit in some way more than just Mana Thirst 6. Even more so than Unleash Fel, I would love to see a Lady Athena change. This is a card that has not been nerfed at all in over a year since it came out in Sunken City. It is Omega Toxic, and now with the addition of Through the Fell and the Flames, you can get OTK by this card in like Spell DH on like turns 5 and 6 consistently. I know, because I did it a lot, climbing the legend with Spell Demon Hunter. It is ridiculous. I have not seen a card called more for nerfs than this one in recent times, even over Pure Paladin, even over everything, because the play pattern is so frustrating. You'd love to see it not be able to go face, but again, I have always said with Demon Hunter cards, they're allergic to that change. At the very least, I hope we get to see it go to 4 mana so it can be slowed down a touch, still be broken. It'd be broken at 4 in my opinion, but at least something, some kind of change. But you know what? I'm going to predict it doesn't get nerfed at all because they just don't want to nerf this card for some reason. And we've been asking for it forever and ever. And I feel like, you know what? It's going to be like Guff or Denathris. It's going to just take a ridiculously long time and it won't get nerfed till like next expansion. So my prediction, no nerf to Athena. I will throw an audible mention out there for Solid Alibi. People just loathe this card. I love Skeleton Mage. This card's toxic. It's so unfun to face, but I don't think this patch is the time to nerf cards to just feel bad when Mage in particular isn't really good right now. It's like tier 3, tier 4, even at the highest of ranks. People have hit rank 1 and all that with the deck, but it's really not consistent. But if they did change this card, I don't think a lot of people would be complaining, even if it just like went to 3, anything, because this card, yes, is Omega Toxic. And with regards to buffs, I think you'd just be looking at like Druid or Mage. Those are the classes that are struggling the most. Miracle Rogue's doing well, High Legend, and they buff like every combo card. And I don't really know what you can really buff. I wonder if they could make Blood Treant 4 to take a little bit less health. You could make Doomkin 5, but I don't think this is a card you want to be good, so I think they would stay clear of that. I'll just go with Fanboy as a 2/3. Premium stats, why not? Everything else has it. And for Mage, again, I don't really know what you can hit. You could make Fiddlefire Imp 2 mana, 3/2. That'd be pretty broken. You could make it a 3/3, some slightly better stats. So you know what? I'll go with Fiddlefire Imp as a 3/3. I'm just looking at mini set cards here. The other one I had thought of is possibly Remixed Dispensobot, making it 3. Then you're looking at getting it discounted on turn 2, right? With like the 1 mana mech that discounts, or like Seafloor Gateway, right? And then it's kind of actually pretty scary making that 3 mana. So I think they leave that one alone, but it does feel awfully clunky at 4. I guess looking at Rogue, let's take the bias glasses off. You could make Tough Crowd too. 2 mana sap. You're also buffing Demon Hunter, so that's a little sus. And again, Rhythm Dancer Riza, if you watched our video yesterday of the worst cards, basically the worst card in the set. Probably could make this a 4/5. I'd actually maybe make it a 4/5, make it more likely to trade in because it's so slow that I could see that. So maybe they buff this because this is the worst performing card basically in the entire mini set. The other one was Phenatum, but how the hell do you buff this card? So I guess it's just going to stay this way unless you change the way the mana cheat happens. So there's my predictions, speculations, all that. I'll keep you guys posted. The second I hear stuff, I'll let you guys know. Let me know your guys' predictions in the comments below. And again, I will say I'm not hating this meta. I'm playing more standard than I have in a very long time. So I really hope we don't get too major changes, in particular Hunter. I just think Hunter's a really sweet deck, and I just don't think it's time to like dial Big Beast Hunter back when it's barely been good at all for quite some time. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.